Before I continue on, I just want to let you all know that this video is not going to be a review in the way I normally do it, where there's the pros, cons, and overall transitions. I saw a documentary, and simply put, I just wanted to get my thoughts out, so without that being said, let's talk about it. So, Hideo Kojima Connecting Worlds is a documentary that's on Hulu. That's a documentary about, well, Hideo Kojima, but most specifically, a documentary about Hideo Kojima making his studio Kojima Productions and creating the first game under that banner, Death Stranding. In case if you guys couldn't tell already, I'm a Hideo Kojima fan. As a matter of fact, I'm a massive Metal Gear Solid fan. Hideo Kojima, if you ask me, is one of the biggest geniuses in video games. I mean, to say that his storytelling is absolutely genius is kind of an underestimate. And not just the Metal Gear Solid games, but also, well, Death Stranding, even though it's a very polarizing game, but still nonetheless. When I heard that they were going to be releasing a documentary based on this man, I just immediately want to see it because, again, Hideo Kojima, if you ask me, is one of the greatest developers, if not Hideo Kojima is arguably the greatest developer ever. I mean, to say that this guy is a masterful storyteller, and not just in that he'll create games that'll blow your mind, subverting expectations, but the endings to his games, they blow my mind every single time. If you're a Hideo Kojima fan and you found out they were making a documentary about this guy, you would immediately want to see it. It finally came out on Hulu not too long ago. I think it was a couple of days ago, and as y'all can imagine, I saw it, I put it on immediately, and I really liked it a lot. One of the things that I really liked, and in fact, I actually loved this documentary, is showing the process of how Hideo Kojima makes his games, how he designs them, the stories that he tells, and more specifically, the team that he works with and how they look up to Hideo Kojima, along with game journalists like Jeff Keighley, the voice actors he's worked with like Troy Baker. Everybody that has worked with Hideo Kojima has said that this is a guy that tells stories and mediums that really no one else can compare to him. And don't get me wrong to you guys, are there other great developers out there and other great designers? Yes, like Shigeru Miyamoto. But really, and in all honesty, and really guys, be honest with me, besides Shigeru Miyamoto, who is another game developer? I mean, I imagine there's loads out there, but can you name another developer, another designer that reaches the height of the genius that's Hideo Kojima? You probably can't. And that's something that I absolutely love about this documentary, is showing how Hideo Kojima's brain works and how this man was able to create a game that really, if it was made by anybody else, this game would have flopped. What this documentary revealed, I thought was actually really interesting, and Jeff Keighley explained it perfectly, and that is that imagine yourself trying to pitch a game to producers or to your publishers, and you're only saying that, hey, I'm not gonna tell you what this game is, all they know is this, I'm gonna make it, and that is it. This documentary revealed that Hideo Kojima pitched his game just saying, hey, I'm gonna make a game for you. That's all you need to know. And literally, Sony signed on to him for that particular reason. The closest thing I can compare that to in the film world is a Christopher Nolan or a Denis Villeneuve. Those two directors in particular are directors that I feel like can pitch something and just say, hey, I'm Christopher Nolan, I'm gonna make you a movie, give me a budget and I'll make it for you. You're gonna make a banger on your hands. That is something in particular that I absolutely love about this documentary, is showing how, just by the name of Hideo Kojima, you can kind of guarantee they're gonna be in for an experience, and even if that experience is a very strange one, to say the least, and it's an experience they may not understand at first, it's an experience that as you continue to play along to it, you're just going like, whoa. Something else that I gotta talk about what this documentary goes into is how Hideo Kojima, after he left Konami, decided to make his brand new studio and was like, yeah, it's one thing when you've been under a publisher for so long and you're making a game, but now I'm making a brand new game, but the biggest difference is that it's an independent studio. I can only imagine the pressure and the stress that Hideo was under. I mean, again, seriously, you might be one of the greatest developers ever made, but to that extent, there has gotta be some pressure, and I really, really liked that you do get to see some of the stresses, the pressure that Hideo was under during certain aspects of the production and the overall development cycle of Death Stranding. For those of you who have played Death Stranding, you will all know that that game, more than anything else, the theme of that game is connection. Connection in a world that has not only been, disconnected, but it's a game where connection is able to get a lot of stuff done. And it's a game that, admittedly, after I played it, I actually felt I was doing good in the world, especially knowing that I was playing the game, well, during the fucking pandemic, for God's sakes. It is a game that became so popular during the pandemic, and it's a game that I mainly played when I had COVID. I'm not even kidding to you guys. That was one of the things I did when I had COVID. I played the hell out of Death Stranding. One more thing that I must talk about, and I'm really glad that this documentary went into it as little as it did, but still, I'm glad it went to it. And that's showing how Hideo Kojima is able to process his thoughts into making his games, whether it's the films that he watches, the books that he reads, the music that he listens to. And again, as little as this does go into that particular aspect about Hideo Kojima, I'm glad the documentary did kind of go into that stuff, and it was really fascinating to see what he was all about, even though it didn't go into it that much. As much as I enjoyed this documentary, the documentary, I do feel could have been greater. And as a matter of fact, it should have been great because, again, this is a documentary about Hideo fucking Kojima. I feel like that we only got just scratching the surface of how this man works. And don't get me wrong when I say this to you guys, while I am very appreciative of showing the process, a little bit of what they could have making Death Stranding, I do wish they showed a lot more, not just the Death Stranding, but also the history of him working with, Konami, the guys that fucked him over during the making of Phantom Pain. I would have loved to have heard that process, but then again, the documentary is called Connecting Worlds, and if you've seen the poster is him with Death Stranding, so it does kind of make sense, but still, one can only wish at this point that the documentary about this man could have delved so much deeper, and that brings me to something else I wish was different. This documentary is less than an hour. It's just about an hour. I wish this documentary was at the very minimum an hour and 45 minutes long. Hell, I could watch a 2-hour documentary about this guy because Hideo Kojima is one of the most fascinating people in the video game industry, and knowing that this documentary was legitimately a little less than an hour was a kind of a disappointment on mine. I really wanted this documentary to explore more of Hideo Kojima's past because while it does go into it, sure, I wish that we got at least, and at the minimum, like a good 20 to 30 minutes. Now, besides everything and going on to what would be my overall section of this video, would I recommend Hideo Kojima Connecting Worlds? Yeah, I would absolutely recommend it. It's a very easy watch. It's under an hour, and if you're a big Hideo Kojima fan, this is definitely one that I highly recommend you watch. It's on Hulu. Give it a watch. It's a very entertaining, it's a very good documentary. I just wish that there was a lot more to this thing. So comment down below and let me know. Have you guys seen Hideo Kojima Connecting World? What did you think of the documentary? Let me know below. If you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and I'm also on Twitch. So if you guys want to follow me on all those social media platforms, all the links and the usernames are in the description below. I hope you enjoyed my thoughts on Hideo Kojima Connecting Worlds. If so, please hit that like button, also subscribe, and don't forget the notification bell for when this video goes live. If you guys want to see my previous 2 videos, please click it right there or right there. And of course, until my next review or video goes live, I will see you all next time.